Hello and welcome back to another video. This video might be a little bit more talkative than usual. I'm basically going to run you through sort of like an average week of training for me at the moment. So if you don't know, my name's Lewis. I'm sort of targeting 70.3s this year. I've done a few already, which I've done some race reviews of and like race day videos, so you can go back and watch them on the channel. My next one is in 3 weeks' time. It is Midnight Man, I believe it's called. So basically training up to that at the moment, and this is kind of going to be roughly what a pretty standard week looks like, training for that basically. So I'm going to jump straight in. This week ended up being a total volume of 12 hours and 22 minutes, which is sort of roughly where I've been. Anywhere from like 12 to 13 hours is usually where I'm at, sort of been all of this year really. So it's quite an easy, manageable sort of duration. I don't feel like I'm stressing out too much or over fatigued or not got time to do anything else or whatever, and it's still giving me good results. Like the best result I've had so far this year, if you haven't seen any of my other videos, is 4 hours and 20 minutes, which gave me 8th place, 4th for my age cat, and that's like the English middle distance champs race. So, you know, pretty good race overall. So yeah, that kind of gives you a rough idea of overall volume, but now we'll jump into like the day by day and run you through it. So started off on Monday with a swim. It was just an aerobic swim. I tend to do just an aerobic sort of swim on a Mondays, nothing crazy or no sort of big efforts or anything like that. So this one was basically split up. It was a bit of a warm up and then just doing some pull, some drills, a bit of pull paddles and stuff like that really. Nothing too special. Ended up being, I think it was just over 3K. In 50 minutes and 42 seconds. Nothing really to say of that. It's quite a boring session, to be honest. And then again, likewise, just in the afternoon, I did an hour easy spin. Ended up doing just over an hour, about an hour and 9 minutes there. Again, nice and easy aerobic. Not anything too hard or too crazy. I think my average power for this was like 217 watts. My normalised power was 230. It's actually that's like coming up to close of top end of zone 2, to be honest, but it was all still zone 2. So yeah, again, nothing special. And then on Tuesday I had my long run. So this ended up, what was planned was 90 minutes. I ended up doing an hour and 26 minutes and 35 seconds, which was 10.5 miles. This was after quite a long day at work and I was quite tired, to be honest. Pace was an 8:15 minute per mile. It was all sort of zone 2. Heart rate was like a little bit higher than what it should have been, I think, or what I was expecting. But yeah, sometimes, you know, in the longer runs towards the ends, if you do feel a bit knackered and maybe not well fueled and stuff, your heart rate becomes a bit harder, so you have to work a bit harder. And your heart rate is obviously then a little bit higher from that. But, you know, still zone 2, good long run, 10.5 miles. Again, probably nothing too crazy or special in that session. And then on Wednesday, this is where a bit of intensity usually comes in. So this is where I usually have some sort of like hard bike workout. This one was quite a hard one actually. It was some zone 5 and zone 3 efforts split up as 4 rounds of 10 seconds at zone 5, 50 seconds zone 3, 20 seconds zone 5, 40 seconds zone 3, 30 seconds zone 5, 30 seconds zone 3, and then 40 seconds zone 5, 20 zone 3, 50 zone 5, and then 10 zone 3. I hope I've said that right. I probably haven't, but you can see it here anyway. Yeah, basically 4 rounds of that. And for the zone 5 efforts, I'm usually aiming to hit around 340 watts, and then the zone 3 is like 260 watts. The first sort of couple on that, so like I think I just spat then. So like the 10 second zone 5, the 20 second zone 5, and even 30 second zone 5, that all felt like manageable, quite comfy. But then the 40 and the 50, that was where it really started to bite. And it's actually ended up being quite a hard session. Did manage to get it done. My max heart rate went up to like 194 beats per minute, which is working for me. That's pretty hard going, so happy to get that one done. That ended up being an hour and 8 minutes. It was on Zwift, so 26.5 miles. That could have been, you know, anything. The Zwift's like fake miles really. So yeah, that's like the first bit of intensity through the week. Definitely a solid workout, and I was happy to get that one done. And then on Thursday, again, nothing special. This was just a chilled jog with finishing off with some strides. So it was 45 minutes in total. Ended up being 5.78 miles. Averaging a 7:48 minute per mile. This run felt a lot better than my long run. So this was including some strides where your heart rate obviously does get quite elevated. The last like 5 minutes, I think I was doing strides. And my average heart rate was 159, which was 2 beats per minute lower than the 10-mile long run. and at a lot faster pace, like almost 30 seconds per mile faster, like averaging. So kind of shows you that that long run I was pretty knackered. So yeah, happy to get that one done. Again, nothing crazy or special. And then on Friday, this was actually off plan, but I did just like a 45-minute easy spin. Reason being, I basically had some spare time and I was bored, so I thought I'd do 45-minute spin. Kept it short, kept it nice and easy, averaging 131 beats per minute heart rate, which for me is like zone 1, like almost recovery. Normalized power of 186 watts. So that was pretty easy. So hopefully didn't affect any training. And then in the afternoon, I did a threshold swim. So this, I was actually quite happy with this swim. It ended up being just over 3K again. Warming up with a bit of front, some drills, and then a prep set of 6x50 descend, or 1 to 3 plus 15. And then the main set was 4x100 as 25 max. So I was in a pool that was, it was quite busy this day. So I kind of had to work around the people that were in my lane. So the 25 maxes were probably more like 25 threshold VO2, not max, and then into 75 tempo. And then that was meant to be plus 15 seconds recovery, but some of them I probably went off with like 5 seconds recovery. Some of them I probably went off with 25 seconds recovery. It was just because I was trying to wait for the people in the lane to be coming back, and then I'd push off and hopefully catch them, and then wait for them to come back round. And so the recoveries, I kind of had to work around whoever was in the lane almost. So it didn't execute it perfectly, but I mean, I was still working hard. So yeah, it's 4x100 as 25 max, 75 tempo. Then 2x200 as the same, so 25 max, 75 tempo. And then that was plus 20, but again, some of them might have been 10, some of them, or one might have been 10, one might have been a bit longer. But yeah, and then another 4x100 as 25 max, 75 tempo, then a cool down. And all in all, that ended up being a really solid session actually. I think my pace was 120, averaging 125 per 100 yards overall. I think I was in the below 117, 18s for the efforts, which was really good for me. If I could swim that sort of 117, 18 per 100 yards for a middle distance swim, I'd be over the moon. So yeah, happy with that swim. Again, yeah, just over 3K, 46 minutes, 57 seconds. One thing to mention whilst I'm talking about swimming actually is usually I try and midweek get a really short, can be anything from a mile to 2K open water swimming. Basically, I just didn't get around to it this week. So the swim volume was a little bit lower than where I'd like. It was like 6K, just over 6K. I'd probably like it to be more around the 8K. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. You know, not every week's perfect. So yeah, that would have been the one thing I'd change, I think, is adding an open water swim into this somewhere. And then on Saturday was just long ride, usually is around 3 hours. I did 247, 54. So 2 hours, 47 minutes, 54.4 miles. Again, nice and easy. Normalized power of 211 watts. So zone 2, average heart rate, 142 beats per minute, which is really good for that sort of power. So yeah, happy with that, felt good. Nothing really to say much with that long ride. And then Sunday is usually big brick session, or fairly big sort of brick session. So this session was basically needed to be 2 hours on the bike, and it was 3 rounds of 20 minutes as 3 minutes at zone 3, which again is 260 watts, 2 minutes at FTP, which is around 310 watts. You obviously do that 4 times over to make that 20 minutes, then a 10 minutes easy spin, and that whole thing 3 times. And so that, yeah, I ended up doing 1 hour and 59 minutes, 43 seconds, just over 40 miles. Normalized power is 252 watts. I actually managed to hit the session pretty well, I think. Most of the zone 3 efforts were literally dead on, if not around 260. And same for the FTP efforts. They were, if not dead on 310, around 310. So happy with that session. And then actually felt quite good that session as well. My legs felt really good throughout that whole session, which is really good sign. And then I had a run off, which was 10K, split up as the first 3K at tempo, then 2 minutes recovery jog, and then 3 by 1k at tempo with 60 seconds recovery, and then a 2k easy jog to finish. I think for the 3k I probably averaged around a 6:30 minute per mile, and then for the 1k efforts I was actually like 6:08, 6:09 per mile, which is definitely too fast, to be honest. I was struggling by the end and sort of not hanging on, but yeah, struggling, let's say that. So yeah, overall that gave me, like I say, a total duration of 12 hours 22 minutes. My swim duration was 1 hour and 38 minutes. Again, that should be higher. Yeah, it should be at least over 2 hours really. Bike duration was 7 hours and 51 minutes, which is pretty good for me. I'm happy with that. And then run was just under 3 hours, I think, 2 hours and 54 minutes. So yeah, that's, like I say, that's a pretty average week. Like I say, the one thing that I'd like to have done is add in an open water swim somewhere, but it is what it is. If you have any questions about my training, about anything to do with anything that I've mentioned really, then let me know in the comments below and I will definitely get back to them. And yeah, hopefully that's given you a bit of an insight into how I train. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. And if you did, please make sure you subscribe, like the video, and I shall see you next time for some more triathlon related content. Peace.